Ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Masters of Marketing. In this episode, I have with me Farah Al Alami, the Chief Marketing Officer of one of the most renowned healthcare institutions in the region called Abu Dhabi Stem Cells Center. She has over 19 years of experience in marketing of healthcare institutions. And in this episode, she shared with me tons of information about how to promote clinics and hospital. Is PR worth it for clinics and hospital? How to invest and work with the influencer, and much, much more. Join me and enjoy the show. Farah, welcome to Masters of Marketing.
Thank you, Bassem. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes. Who is Farah and what do you do for a living?
Farah, I'll start with my children. I'm a mom of two boys. I'm a healthcare communications and marketing professional. Have been in the healthcare sector for almost 19 years. And it's healthcare and communications is in my blood, let's say. It's my passion. It's what I really, really enjoy doing. As a communication and marketing person, I can do any industry, definitely. But I've been enjoying healthcare the past 19 years.
19?
Yep. And on a personal level, I'm an avid reader. I enjoy reading. I read fiction novels, English and Arabic. And I like to call myself a bookstagrammer. I have a small followers database on Instagram, but I'm so proud to be using my skills and my Instagram page to promote reading and encourage others to read.
How do you do that?
Through Instagram, through my platform. I keep updating it with what I'm currently reading, engaging with other readers in the community. I always receive, and it makes me really proud, comments and messages saying that I did help them go back to reading or to start reading. At the same time, me and my cousin launched Al Alami Book Club in 2020. It was the mid of COVID and the pandemic. We run the book club virtually, and we have over 800 members from across the globe, not only the UAE and Jordan and Lebanon and Saudi, but from across the globe. We have members from Europe, from US, from Canada. And we wait the book club discussion every 6 to 8 weeks to discuss the books we're reading with our members.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How many books do you read a year?
Okay, so it went down last year due to a lot of circumstances, and I was extremely busy with work and family. But in 1 year, I did read 45 books.
Ah.
Yes.
Wow.
Last year, it went down to 23, but my goal
Man,
for...
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Like almost a book a week.
Yes.
Wow,
Yes.
that's amazing.
Yes. Well, I mean, I delay my sleep so that I could read, given that I'm really busy with work and family.
Yeah.
And I also utilize my time in the gym to read while I'm on the treadmill, and I was able to do it.
Read?
Yeah.
Or listen to audiobooks?
Read. I'll tell you a secret. I just started audiobook this 2 weeks ago because I moved to a new job. We'll talk about it in a bit. And it's like 35-minute drive from my home. And usually my workplaces were closer. So I never really wanted to read on the way or to listen to a book. But now I'm utilizing my time driving from home to work, listening to a book. And I finished one book last week.
Yeah. Audiobooks make sense.
Yes.
Like how I think an audiobook is usually about a few hours, right? 5 to 10 hours.
Yep.
So if you're doing half an hour.
Exactly.
And
You'll be done in a week or two.
Sessions.
Yeah.
And you got listed in some renowned publications.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah.
And you won, and you are a known figure in the healthcare marketing, of course, as we know. How did you do that? What do you think it takes for someone to reach that level?
Alhamdulillah, of course. التوفيق من ربنا. And I think I invested in myself, meaning I've really done everything when it comes to marketing. And I manage teams that take the whole full-fledged marketing and communications departments. At the same time, I chose to stay in the healthcare sector So I worked in public hospital. That's where I started my career in Abu Dhabi. And then I moved to a private hospital or a private group, healthcare group. Then I moved to Cleveland Clinic, Ohio. I continued living in the UAE, but I was looking after their media relations and marketing in the whole Middle East region and London and Turkey. So I kind of learned from the best as Cleveland Clinic, like their number, at the top lists of all healthcare brands in the world. And then I worked in semi-government. I worked in completely private. So I kind of learned from all private, international or multinational and public. So I've seen everything from the inside, and it gave me a lot of insights on how to promote the healthcare provider to the hospital and the clinics. And as I said, to manage full-fledged teams of social media, digital media, advertising, communications and PR, and the list goes on. I did also manage sales and business development for a period of time within my responsibilities. So it gives you really insights and understanding of the healthcare market. And I keep always an eye of what's happening in the market. That's very important for us.
Right. And that's what it takes. So why you and not someone else? Because a lot of people as well work in maybe top or renowned clinics, hospital, healthcare providers. Why you? What you think is that plus your knowledge, your contacts, the way that you want to maybe invest in personal branding? So does it take as well some marketing effort from your side to be listed, to be as known, or what does it take?
100%. And as a communications person, I'm not saying it's wrong, but I shouldn't be shying off opportunities. Inviting me to speak here or there, being a member in, an association like Middle East PR Association, MEPRA, which I'm so proud to be part of. It's the voice of our industry in the market, and it got me to know a lot of people in the PR and communications industry. It's my luck that I also worked in some of the best places throughout my career, learning from the best throughout my career as well, working with amazing CEOs that I've learned from. And personal branding, yes. Again, I shouldn't be shying off. I'm the communications expert in the organization. If I get opportunities for me to be out there, I wouldn't say no. Now, I was so lucky to be also invited to actually present TV medical reports in a TV program. That was like 9 years ago, and it was an amazing experience because I learned how to speak to the camera, to the audience through the camera, and run my medical reports with the production company. It was on Abu Dhabi TV, and it helped me a lot to be out there.
Makes sense. So it takes for someone to be known, yes, the skills and know-how, and the will to market himself or herself.
Sure, but again, there are certain people and personalities who do not, or shy off, or do not prefer, but you'd still know them in the healthcare market if they're doing a great job with the hospital they're working in or the group, right? So it's a very small community. It's a small market. We all know each other's in a way or another. So you can tell who's doing an amazing, not that I'm judging or evaluating anyone, but you can tell who's, out there, doing a great job for their hospital, not necessarily themselves. Again, personal branding helps, but also the deliverables and what people see about this, healthcare group is very important.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Awesome.
Yeah. What are the best ways to promote a clinic or hospital?
There isn't one best way. It's always an integrated plan. You cannot go with one and leave the other, if that makes sense. It needs to be integrated. One channel alone will not help. One plan alone will not help. And there wouldn't be one channel better than the other. They just complement each other. I can't promote a service line only based on SMS campaigns. It doesn't work. I cannot do it only on social media. It doesn't work. It needs to be this and that with PR, with patient testimonials, with B2B relations, with advertising, and the list goes on. And the point in what we do is there isn't really black and white. There isn't the only way, and it's this way or no way. It all complements each other.
Got it. So let's say there's a new clinic opened up a couple of months back, and they want to get patients, and they want to get it with the lowest cost possible. How do you think they should approach marketing?
When it comes to cost, it's definitely the lowest or cheapest from my experience would be digital. But again, they cannot only focus on digital. You still need to have outreach events. You need to reach out to the patients and, understand your target audience first of all. Geographically, age, gender, all these details need to be known or studied. And then you will see what would be the right way to do it. Digital is a must, especially, in the past 8 years. Yeah. 8 years ago, my budget was 30% on digital and 70% on the rest. Now it's the other way around. Despite the fact that if you were on Facebook, I'll ask you a question. If you were on Facebook and you saw an advertisement from a clinic saying book your appointment to check your eyes or book your appointment if you have migraines, would you do it on the spot?
If I have migraine and if I really have a need today, maybe.
Yeah.
Would I book it immediately if I don't know the brand name, if I don't know the clinic? Probably if it's a very good offer, maybe what I would do, if it's not a brand that I know, I'm gonna go online and search for that brand with reviews or testimonies, etc. And then potentially, if it's a good offer, yes. Yeah. But most probably I'm going to do my research, look at options before I decide.
Most probably, or at least in the places I worked in, there wouldn't be really a price associated as an offer or a package, except in certain service lines, let's say like cosmetics and so on. But I realized, I'm not saying it's not important, having social media campaigns, whether on Meta, Facebook, and Instagram, Snapchat, and so on, is a must for healthcare providers. This is where you raise awareness about your brand and people recognize your brand. But it doesn't necessarily get you the leads you are aspiring, if that makes sense. Now, we usually, when we run campaigns, we have KPIs and we wish to get, the higher, the better, right? But personally, if I was on Facebook scrolling on my Facebook page and I'm putting my son to sleep, let's say, and I see X and Y, clinics advertising, I wouldn't really book on the spot. I would still go on the second day if I have a need to visit that doctor, whether it's for just a checkup or if I have pain and I'm sick. I'd go to Google the second day and maybe call the clinic or book through their website.
Right.
But it doesn't mean it's not important. It's where you raise awareness and make your brand recognized in the minds of your customers. Same thing with the radio ad. If you hear a radio ad saying, we offer orthopedics, care, if you have joint pain or so and so, book an appointment, call XXX. Would you call on the spot? No, but we actually exposed you to the ad on the radio, on Instagram, on Google, when you search for joint pain, and the list goes on.
Yeah. So more impressions. You're creating more impressions. Yeah. So the lowest cost you would say is digital to start for a new clinic. And you said that your budget today is actually shifting from the 30% now to becoming 70%. And we see it. I see it across the board as well. And if you want to say if you want to tell a clinic one marketing channel to focus on, what would it be for a clinic or hospital?
Now here falls the personal preference as well, which shouldn't be the case, right? But we know that certain platforms are working better in the UAE compared to another. Compared to Saudi, let's say Arabia, they have one platform. I don't want to say names, but I mean, it's all published research, right, about these platforms. So were you asking about social media platforms or generally?
In general,
channels.
If you were to choose one marketing channel for a clinic or hospital, what would it be? The best marketing channel.
Yeah, I would say social media and outreach. I can't say one alone because because you need your doctors to go out there and raise awareness on diseases. That's a role of healthcare providers. They should see
outreach.
Outreach.
What is outreach in this case?
Outreach, as in going out there, speaking about breast cancer, speaking about early detection of breast cancer, speaking about quitting smoking, speaking about diabetes.
Where would they speak about this?
Either at universities, could be schools, could be corporate organizations, it could be public events that we as a healthcare provider partner with, like social groups of women, of families, and the list goes on. So we could always, I mean, that's part of the CSR, let's say, of other companies, you know, and they're also employee wellness programs, right? So we partner with them to ensure that they actually fulfill their mission. And at the same time, we are out there raising awareness on such diseases. And that's, again, part of our responsibilities towards the community.
Love it. Makes sense. And you're giving me ideas as well for my business and for other businesses. Because not only it makes sense for clinics, but it could make sense as well for a digital marketing agency to do such outreach, to do events with collaborations with whatever. So I could, for example, do an event as a marketing agency and invite, if healthcare providers are a target audience, I would create an event and I would invite
you could,
right?
The angle always could be healthcare. Yeah, people do tend to come to healthcare related. Not that all the events I've done were full and packed.
Right.
Still, you know, you'd find events that, you know, you don't see any, you know, the show up rate that you were expecting, unfortunately.
Right.
Interestingly, once COVID started and the pandemic and we started shifting to virtual, the show up rate on virtual is way higher than the physical compared to the physical ones.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't mind if the physical helps me, the virtual helps me achieve my objective in raising awareness. And at the same time, you know, definitely we have a goal to attract these patients, then I'd go virtual, especially if it was easier on the physician and the team.
Got you. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. How important is influencer marketing for clinics and hospitals?
Yeah, I have an opinion about that. So they're very important. I thank all the influencers that I've worked with in the past 6, 7, 8 years. But I always thought, and this is again my personal opinion, I always think when it comes to healthcare, it really needs to be genuine. So all those I worked with were genuine relationships where they actually came and got the treatment because they needed it, or visited my hospital because they were using the services of the hospital, if that makes sense. But again, we have specialities like cosmetics, like, you know, dermatology and all these aesthetics. All clinics, all aesthetic clinics use influencers, and as in influencers, you know, with it's not always genuine. They invite them to come and speak about and I managed once an aesthetic clinic as well. So the market because of the market, you know, everyone is forced to do that and to go with them. And thankfully, the results are really great. But again, when it comes to purely healthcare, not related to cosmetics, I would always prefer the genuine. But it doesn't mean I wouldn't work with influencers. It really depends on the cause, the campaign, the topic that we're working on.
Right. So why would you say influencer marketing is important?
Because influencers are important. People do hear from them. People do believe from them. And I think many, not everyone, are doing a great job. And honestly, if they became an influencer with that big database and people started following them and believing in their, you know, in their reviews and so on, they're doing a great job. They're talented people. They're extremely talented people. And I know a lot of people who do not follow companies on Instagram and would never follow companies, but they would follow influencers, right?
Right.
So it's the right way to reach to the wider audience.
Right.
But always choose the right celebrity or influencer that really, you know, is aligned with your vision. They couldn't be speaking about, you know, like having how can I say that? Now, to healthcare, everyone needs healthcare, but to certain brands, if this influencer is not really, you know, following that brand or having the same beliefs of that brand, I don't think it would be the right partnership.
Makes sense.
Yeah. But to healthcare, everyone needs healthcare, right?
Yeah. And everybody needs cosmetics. But yeah, I agree with you. Influencers are important, like you said, because they have a following. So you as a brand, you reach the following through them. One. Second, when an influencer is talking about your brand, there's almost immediate trust from the followers of this influencer.
Yeah.
Right.
100%. May I just comment on one thing here? When I said, like, choose the right partner or the right influencer, because some influencers may harm your brand.
How?
هلا يعني it happened in front of me. I saw it, not necessarily from an ROI perspective, but it may harm the brand. I can't really say a lot of details, but if that person is not really representing the values of your company, it will harm your brand in a way or another, because there are certain people that you definitely have lost. Maybe they would have considered your clinic or your brand, but when they saw that influencer, they changed their mind. It's possible, and it happened.
Yeah, because sometimes this influencer could be controversial, could follow a certain belief system or religion, and they're talking. So why? So give me an example. So, like, how could it harm? Because to me, like an influencer, like if, for example, if an influencer does something negative in public, and that influencer became, so if that influencer became not as liked, and that influencer
that's your luck. Sometimes it could be an awesome celebrity and influencer, but they fall into a trouble or something. Now you cannot control that.
Yeah. So
it's just a matter of understanding who are the audience following this influencer. I'm not speaking about beliefs as in life and principles and so on, but if you are, I'm trying to find a decent example, but let's say you're an influencer, you're a gym, okay, or a sports clothes brand, and you want to promote your sports clothes brand, but that this influencer has been talking recently that she's against going to gyms, or she doesn't prefer going to gyms, or she's not into exercising, as an example. Would she be the right fit?
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Yeah, so that's the closest example that I could get without referring to one of the cases that I've seen.
Got you.
Yeah.
And how important branding is for clinics or hospitals?
Extremely important, because this is how people will, when they hear your name, how they envision you, where are you positioned in the market and in their minds. So you need to be consistent with your messaging, with your branding, with the look and feel. For them, I feel when you have a strong branding, they would trust your brand more. Now, definitely quality care and medical care and clinical care and the physician is the base, is the essence of healthcare groups. But when it comes to branding, communications, consistency in everything when you communicate with your patients is essential. It shows how professional you are. And it would resonate in their minds when a health topic is discussed in one of the gatherings they have, or when they're actually looking for a physician or a place to, get healthcare.
What about PR? How important is PR for clinics and hospitals?
Extremely important, I would say.
How? And why?
Again, because PR is genuine, and we're speaking healthcare. We're talking to people.
Is PR genuine?
And from my experience and what I've done, it has always been genuine.
Like today,
genuine
you pay for articles to go live. Today you pay for influencers.
Alhamdulillah, I never had to pay for PR.
Right.
Unfortunately, all newspapers and media have an arm of advertising and push content through advertising and advertorials, which I personally don't prefer. But in some cases, we may need to. However, if your story is strong, when it comes to healthcare, if it's a patient story, if it's a strategic, partnership and so on, depending on your relations with the media, it will get out in the media you want.
For free?
Yes.
Today? Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, till now.
Okay.
Let's see later on what will happen.
And if you want to get a front page cover, you get it for free as well? If it's a big, what could be this big story in healthcare?
I mean, if it's a new invention in the specialty we're doing, something new to the UAE, a patient story of like a, life-saving story, it could. It really could. And I had front pages. Yeah, alhamdulillah. Okay. So it really depends. But again, here we need to understand what the media needs. You cannot you opened, a small service line or a clinic within a bigger hospital and say that this will go first page or second.
Yeah.
Or even it may not go to the media. And it really depends on the strength of the story. And here I ask communications people, whether in-house or in agencies, to ensure that the leadership, let's say, or the CEO who's asking for that, or the leadership or the team who's asking for that they do understand not everything is PR material. There are certain things that may go only on social media, but not PR, and vice versa.
So to go back to the question, why PR is important for clinics and hospitals?
Because it's genuine. In many cases, I know that there are many editorials and sometimes it's paid, given the time and the years now. And as years pass, it will even be more paid, unfortunately. But if your story is strong, if it's a patient story, if it's a strategic collaboration, if it's a new invention or an innovative treatment, it will go to the press, and it may go also front page. I think or feel that patients, when they read these, and the public, they would even trust the brand more or trust this healthcare provider more, because because it's genuine. And again, it will only be on front page or get in the newspaper if it's a strong one.
Makes sense.
If it's a strong story.
Yeah, I agree. I don't do PR at the agency, but I always say PR is extremely important for brand trust.
Yeah.
Because you're not saying that you are the best, but actually other people are saying, and
exactly.
Like the media is so strong. And not only media, but because PR, it's not only media, right? It's influencer marketing, organizing events, and so forth, right? Okay. Then, how to get patients for the lowest cost possible?
That's
$1 million question.
Yeah.
10 million, $100 million question.
I mean, spend the money where you see there is a benefit or where you can measure ROI. However, I do not agree with the statement that I've just said. I'll tell you why. Because I do radio advertising, but I can't measure the ROI from radio advertising. I can do cinema advertising, and it's cheap, by the way, compared to other mediums. But I can't measure ROI. But I need to ensure that I'm exposing the patient to the brand, to the service line I'm promoting, to let them know what I'm offering in the market, right? So how to do it? It's really, again, it depends when you build the whole plan. That's how you will decide where to put your money, and depending on the money you have and the budget you have, if that makes sense. I've seen it. Clients or in-house communications paying agencies for campaigns that I know could have been done way cheaper. It's there in the market. We know that. Again, not blaming the agencies, but I'm talking about both and how the relationship between them is. So you just need to be, cautious when putting the full budget on where it's being paid, and choosing the right vendors and the right partners after the normal procurement process, definitely. Now, we always look into quality and creativity. So we shouldn't be cost-driven, but you need to look into it if you want to manage your budget properly, and at the same time ensure that you are getting the name out there and the leads or conversions to your hospital.
Right.
Makes sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm thinking, because today that's the struggle, right? Marketing is, so the cost per acquisition is only increasing because the cost for
it's like a stock market.
Right, it's only increasing. The cost per click online is increasing. The cost to rank organically on SEO is increasing because more and more players are investing in SEO. The cost for advertising only increases. So today, if you are a business owner or a marketing head, where do you put your money to generate more patients for the lowest cost possible?
Digital is the way to go. Again, it doesn't.
Where on digital? So
SEM is very important.
Yeah, of course.
I think people and conversions that I've seen on SEM was better and lower cost than social media. But social media, you're reaching to people who are not searching for you. They're not searching for a healthcare brand, right? They're not searching to book an appointment on social media, but you're exposing them. It's brand awareness, right? When it's SEM, they're actually looking for the word. They're looking for a doctor for their child. And that's where you need to be on the first of the page.
Right.
For them to actually book. So that's why you would see leads and conversions more from SEM than social media. But again, it doesn't mean social media is not important. It is as important when it comes to brand awareness. Because they'll remember.
Yeah, I agree with you, because today, like I tell businesses and brands, like stop focusing only on direct marketing, not only on the short term. So not only Google search ads, not only social media ads, but focus as well on brand marketing, right? Show who you are as a provider, show who you are as a person, right? So create social media content on a regular basis. Create articles on a regular basis, right? Showcase your skills, speak at events, right?
So I always say the sky is the limit, right? So there's no, you'll never come and say enough speaking in events or enough being on SEO on the first page. So you need to continuously invest not only money, but efforts in being on the top. And you shouldn't stop your social media content. You should be active and consistently active. Is there any harm if we had 2 posts on a day, the same day, or 3? From my experience, I didn't see any harm.
Of course not.
You would see harm if you stopped for a week, right?
100%. The more the better. And you see that I talked about this with clients and other marketeers, and they say, but no, like people get annoyed by you creating more content. No, man, you create more content. If you can post 10 times a day, post 10 times a day, because you're gonna get more eyeballs on your brand, and the algorithm is gonna work for you. Because if some people see one of your posts that they like or they engage with, some of your posts they're gonna work better.
100%.
And the people that don't like you, don't like your content, let them leave. They're not the right people for you.
I totally agree with you, and unfortunately I heard it from other communications people saying, as you said, we don't want to swamp them with, a lot of posts and, bombard them with a lot of info, and that will affect us. I don't see that. No. Now, it may affect the algorithm and the reach, especially when it comes to certain platform, but I don't see there's a harm because you'll be reaching out to new people.
What do you mean it affects the algorithm?
If, the engagement on the second post, an hour after may decrease. I'm not saying it always happens.
It won't.
It won't?
It won't. No.
I'm hearing it from the experts.
Yeah, no, it won't. Because first of all, like today, if I ask you today, what's the best time for you to post? If you go to your, let's say your Instagram, you can see what time people are checking your content, right? Yeah. Now, you have the people that check in the morning, that check in the afternoon, that check in the evening. If you're not boosting your post, you put a story today. If you put it in the morning, if people come in the afternoon and they follow so many people that create stories, your story is not going to be there, right? True. So more content, more visibility, more impressions, more eyeballs. The algorithm is going to work for you. The algorithm love it when your videos are consumed fully, when people are engaging with your content, algorithm is going to work for you. Now, if you are a boring brand, like a digital marketing brand or like a hospital brand, we're boring content. People don't like it. There's only a very small niche of people that consume it versus motivational stuff, fun stuff, funny stuff.
That's why you need to make your content engaging. Even if you are a boring brand.
How do you make it for a clinic or hospital? How do you make it engaging?
I know, for me, because I have a lot of possible content that could be developed. It's not only about service line and talking about diseases. It could be that. It could be an invitation to an event. It could be a repost about something that was in the papers or in the media. It could be questions and answers. It could be a poll. It could be, the list goes on. There's no ending to how creative we could. However, we need to be careful that it is a healthcare brand.
Yeah.
We're speaking healthcare. It cannot be too fun or too, not too fun. It cannot be too casual. We are a healthcare provider providing health education and information about the facility and how they can access our facility for the services that they need.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. It could be a patient story that's really touching. And I've done with my teams lots of stories that went viral on social media and also from a PR perspective.
Got you. And do you think, now that we're talking about this, do you think the same content should go on all the platforms? Let's say it would go on Instagram and TikTok would be the same. It should be the same.
I would just keep LinkedIn on the side, and all the rest I would say yes. But for LinkedIn, you need to be more, selective in what to put on LinkedIn. But for the rest, I think yes. You can use all. I don't know if you agree with me or not.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree somehow. It depends on the brand. You see, like today, TikTok stuff could be more raw. So it depends on the creative that you create, right? So if it could be a creative that is for TikTok and you put it on Instagram and it would work, and you can even put it on LinkedIn, it could work because it's more eyeballs again. Now, TikTok, from the brands that I'm engaging with, TikTok videos are usually a bit different than Instagram. Instagram, they're more, you see that there's more attention, more effort put on a video that goes on Instagram or on Facebook or on LinkedIn.
I agree.
TikTok, there's a lot of very raw, right? Shot with filters and stuff that can go. So for me, what we would do for brands, usually TikTok is a bit different than Instagram and a bit different than...
Let me tell you, I don't think TikTok is the right platform for healthcare at this stage. It might be, and it may improve by time, but I don't feel people on TikTok follow companies, not companies or hospitals or official, authorities or, ministries or.
And the question is
they're
then
more
how
into personal.
do clinics promote themselves on TikTok?
When it comes to aesthetics and cosmetics, it's the right platform. But other than that, I don't think it is. But maybe we'll sit again in a year and I'll tell you I'm investing more in TikTok.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Know. Yeah, I'm definite too. But again, it's just that the behavior of people on TikTok, I wouldn't guarantee that they will actually follow.
No, they won't.
Official accounts.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And it's very, very difficult anyway for brands to stand out on social and any platform they are in, right? Because usually content that is created by companies is usually boring. So how do you as a medical clinic or a medical or hospital create the right content with the right context for a platform like TikTok? So there are ways, there are ways.
As I said, you cannot follow one format. You need to, mix and match. It could be a video, it could be a reel, it could be a static picture about a health observance day. It could be a group picture. Do you know what I figured that what's the most engaging post that when we do is when it actually includes real people.
Right, of course.
Real staff, our employees, or real patients with their consent, of course, to be out there.
More emotions.
These are more engaging. But again, if you look at, a certain hospital page, it really needs to be a mix of and match of everything. Unfortunately, there are certain brands in healthcare in the UAE and in the region where they follow a very rigid template. They're all the same. They look the same, just to make sure that the grid looks nice. For me, the grid is not my priority. Yeah. My priority is the engagement, is people to interact with me.
Me. How to grow the lifetime value of a patient?
What we call, this is what we call patient retention, right? And keeping them with us, making sure they use other service lines. Let's say they came for a bone problem, that if they have something where they need to see a nephrologist, for a kidney problem, or had a flu, that they'll come actually to our hospital. So this usually happens when they're really happy. So let's forget marketing and put it on the side. We need to ensure the patient experience is optimal. We need to ensure that they're getting the best quality care from our physicians and the whole patient journey, right? So this with the whole team is our goal and our mission. Yeah. When it comes to marketing, we do that when we keep the communication open with the patients. Let's forget the patient bedside and the patient care and the communication with the patient from nursing, physicians, and so on. From a communications perspective, we need to ensure that they are on our social media platforms so that they're updated with our news, what's happening with the hospital, and so on. We need to keep them informed on certain things through SMS, let's say, through emails, because we have their database, right? And we have their consent to communicate with them, whether on email or SMS. Now, what really helps with keeping them informed is a CRM solution within the hospital, where if you know that this patient has after 6 months, they have a teeth cleaning, for example, appointment, you make sure that you communicate with the patient through email or phone or SMS 2 weeks before the 6 months to come for the teeth cleaning session, and the list goes on.
We ran out of time. One last question.
Yeah.
Do you think doctors should invest in personal branding, and if yes, how?
Yes, if they have the skills and the charisma to be in front of the camera.
And if they don't have the camera skills?
I mean, it's not a must. It's not a must. They would be working.
Other form of personal branding. If video is not for them, how?
Well, I mean, they need to be out there, probably working with their communications team on ensuring they're out there through their platforms and maybe speaking in events. But again, if they're not really comfortable, there are many physicians who are not comfortable speaking at events or in front of camera. So it's not a must. It's really, and doctors are doctors, they're there to care for us. They're it's not really their role to be charismatic and be on TV and do that and that. But there's no harm if they have the skills, because they can be or act as to raise awareness amongst the patient, and this is part of what they do when they're out there.
So out of all the doctors that you've worked with across your career, the ones that do personal branding, do they get a lot more business from than the others?
I've seen it again when it comes to cosmetics and aesthetics, but other services, I don't think I've seen it. However, many of them, those I worked with, are out there not for the sake of getting patients. It's more because they feel obliged to provide that service to their community or to the community, if that makes sense, which is beautiful, because it's a beautiful cause and they're serving the community through their platforms. And again, some, the role or the goal is to get patients, and it's if they're having a good number of followers, yes.
Makes sense. All right.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Pleasure having you.
Thanks.
We should do another session.
I know. We should. I'll wait for the second one.
Yalla.